Yes. Hello.
Hello.
This is very exciting. Welcome to the Darknet. This is our first try at streaming over the interwebs with people in multiple places. And in fact, we have people from England and Northern California, and then Southern California's Mook and I. So it's very exciting, and it so far seems like it's working. I'm very excited about that.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, and this is going to be a GURPS game, and Mook is so much more qualified to talk to you about that than I am. Ready to go.
The game's
No pressure.
GURPS 4th edition. It's a very straightforward, simple system. 3d6 is all you need to play, and everything is skill driven. Everything that you're going to need during the actual playing of the game is on the character sheet. That's why we spend so much time making the characters. So that once you're actually in play, your character sheet is info dense, but everything you need is right there in front of you. There's not a lot of like book lookups and tables and that sort of thing. Easy peasy.
Fabulous.
That's like 70% of a D&D 5e game is looking shit up in a book.
Yeah, that's no good. No bueno. That's no. So I'm not sure exactly how y'all want to start this. We have some basic concepts for the characters. Yeah.
Oh my God, it is so loud in the restaurant you're at, Tyler.
Hang on just a second. Putting away plates and stuff.
Oh man, Proby Tim cheats when he GMs. I miss you so much, Tyler. I'm so glad we're doing this.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Fabulous. I think maybe we should start with a description of just kind of the world that we're going to be in. If you wanted to do that, Mook.
Makes perfect sense. So the original 3 options for this game were, as I recall, bunnies and burrows, possible near future military like Starship Troopers, that kind of thing, or cyberpunk. And it seemed pretty unanimous. Everyone was thumbs up for cyberpunk. So I've been recently, like in the last 6 months or so, I read Ready Player One. I've been watching Altered Carbon. There just seems to be like a great resurgence of cyberpunk in my life, so I was happy to go with that. So the setting that we're going to be using is LA. It's somewhat in the future, but not super far in the future. Maybe 2050, 2060, somewhere around there. In the setting, the corporations have basically decided we don't need to keep this charade going where the governments are in charge. They pretty much have just come out and said, look, we run the world. We do a better job than the government, so just let us do our thing. And the thing is, most of the population is actually pretty cool with that. They're like, sure, as long as I can get my slurm and everything is cheap and comfy, then we're all good. So there's kind of 3 strata of people in this setting, which is nice because there are different flavors of cyberpunk, right? And so depending on which level of the society the adventure's in, then you can kind of explore like different kinds of cyberpunk all in the same game. So at the top are the uber rich and powerful, the CEOs, the corporate execs, and they are sort of like the meths from Altered Carbon, or Peter Whalen from Whalen-Yutani. They own everything, super powerful. Mm-hmm. Almost guaranteed that you will never meet one of them face to face. So they're just sort of exactly, yeah. They're pulling strings from the background, but it's not like you're going to be in a firefight with them. And then below them are the sort of arcology workers. These are the people who have clawed their way up enough to get a job at a corporation, and they spend their day in mindless, soulless pursuits. But in exchange for that, they get a nice gated community with corporate guards to keep out all the riffraff, and as in exchange for giving up most of their freedom, they actually lead fairly comfortable lives. And then outside the walls of the arcologies, in the rest of the city are sort of the street rats, the shadow runners, the people who are eking out their meager living by taking odd jobs, usually illegal, and making their way through the world that way. Which probably most of you either are or came from at some point. But of course, we'll get into that with the characters. So maybe the four of you just throw out your pitch real quick, and we'll start with kind of the ballpark of what the characters are. Are there any questions on the setting? Is there any more the details that I need?
Do you want our real world personas or our system personas?
I think both. I think probably. Originally, I was thinking, well, we'll make the characters, and then later, when it comes up, we'll make the zone avatars, the virtual reality.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds
But
good.
all of the characters are pretty much focused heavily on the zone, so we're probably gonna probably better to do both, so that we have them ready to go.
Cool. Tyler, why don't you start first?
I am going to be playing Bartholomew Barry Iverson. He is an HR drone. He spends his days explaining to people why it's not okay to take other people's lunches from the fridge and why it's inappropriate to make sexual advances towards your coworkers. And by night in the zone, he is Dr. Discord.
Nice.
Nice.
I'll go next. I don't have names yet. I haven't gone that far with my character concept, but I will have them before the session is over, I suppose. My concept was kind of like a huge dichotomy, like sweet, gentle preschool teacher by in real life by day, and then online, like the avatar that she uses is just like this hulking suit of armor that's just kind of like not gender specified, just like this massive tank, and I'm still trying to picture how it looks, but I'm kind of going the way of the brother in Full Metal Alchemist, if you guys ever watched that anime. So that's
I'm an adult. I don't watch cartoons.
Shut up. I will out adult you any day, and I love watching cartoons. All right, Elspeth, what is your concept?
I think I'm gonna be playing Vendetta Thornhill, the snotty teenager. His dad is a super rich industrialist politician, and basically she hates everything he stands for. It's not that she's that great; she just hates him personally.
Yeah.
And so she spends most of her time on the Darknet, pulling a lot of crap to skate as close to the edge of getting him in massive trouble as she possibly can.
Nice.
And she spends most of whatever she earns on random avatar mods.
Absolutely. And Bill.
So I'm going to be playing Alphonse Camus, who is a paraplegic, and is actually it's congenital, so it's not because he was in any accident or anything, but it is basically him being in the situation where he's living in South Central. It's not a good scene, and what he does to get by, because his medication's expensive and having to have access in a crappy wheelchair and whatnot, is that he's a merc on the Darknet. And so his avatar is basically a somewhat high-end-ish assassin for hire by the name of Hex.
Right. Well, that's quite the little mix there. Sorry, this is the first I'm hearing some of this, so I'm taking notes as we go. So just to clarify real quick about the setting, the government infrastructure is still in place. The corps have kept it; it's still there, which is why Elizabeth's father can be a politician, because the corps find it useful to rally people around that sort of national identity. So they've decided to keep it.
For my character, like, what is the school system like in your minds? Like, when you're imagining that, is it very like indoctrinating kids?
I feel like and nothing is set in stone with the setting, by the way. By all means, let's
Okay.
hammer this thing out. But yeah, I feel like the outside in the streets, whatever education they can come by is probably going to be volunteers putting in their time. There's probably not a lot of actual structure. Maybe an occasional token
Okay.
school set up, and as a tax write-off kind of thing.
Got it. Okay.
But the arcologies will have fully functioning, well-funded school system. But of course, along with the education comes a lot of indoctrination.
Yeah.
Corporations are good. Yeah. So GURPS kind of starts the character creation very broad, and then you sort of just keep chiseling in more and more detail until you run out of points. Basically, everything is point by. There's no randomness. You don't roll for attributes. If you want an IQ of 14, then damn it, you spend the points and you buy an IQ of 14. So I think originally I was going to start the game at 200 points, which is like pretty beefy for adventurers. That makes them fairly powerful. But with so much zone stuff going on, I think what I'm going to do is maybe split it between the avatar and the real world person at 300. So you can either have a 200 character point real world person with a 100 point avatar, or vice versa. Have a 200 point avatar and a 100 point real world person, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But probably between the two, we'd be better off making the real world person, because I feel like that's going to inform maybe some of the choices you make for the avatar and that sort of thing.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I know you just said it. How many points for the real world person? We have
It depends. There's 300 total.
300
Yeah.
total to split between them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And do you Mook, do you want it where it's 200, 100 either way, or do you really care?
I mean, that'd probably be something to shoot for, just to keep them roughly equitable. But I'm not particularly, if it's 210 and 90, I'm not gonna really.
And just so we know, like, where to spend points, how much of the game do you see happening as our avatars versus as our actual real world selves?
It seems like probably 70-80% of it is going to be online. Yeah. And the online is, of course, there's no limits, because it's online. It's all virtual. So some places you go, there's not going to be gravity. There might be magic. Everyone's a toad. Like, I don't know. It's all going to be weird stuff. It's all going to be crazy. So in terms of, again, you might run out of points, but in terms of concept for your avatar, you can make pretty much whatever you want. 6-armed gorilla, or space slug.
Okay.
So there's 3 basic kind of areas where you spend points. There's your attributes, which set your baseline compared to like the rest of humanity. How strong you are, how agile you are, how smart you are, how tough you are. And then there's a whole bunch of advantages and disadvantages. These are things that are kind of inborn to you, things that you can do that other people can't, things that you're better at than the average person, or things that you're worse at, or phobias, or that sort of weakness. Edges and weaknesses, what's that? Savage Worlds? Does that use
Edges and hindrances, yeah.
hindrances? There you go. So yeah, it's the same idea as that. And then you finally get to the actual skills, which are those specific. Can I pick locks? Can I hotwire this car? Do I know how to dance the Charleston? So basically, you're going to start with your attributes. We'll work on to the advantages, and then we'll pick the skills. And
so a couple questions, and we talked about these earlier online, which was around how do our real world statistics translate into the zone? So meaning, can normally, for example, sword play requires a high dex, but in the zone, can it be more based off my int, for example, or my IQ?
Sure. The way so in this setting, I didn't mention, when everyone is born, they are assigned like a one-time avatar for use in the zone. The corporations use the zone as sort of bread and circuses, as mollifying the population, and so having everyone get assigned this like one avatar, they can keep track of people and that sort of thing. Now there are ways to hack around that and darknet stuff, but overall everyone has one, and that avatar is just like the base model. All the stats are 10, which is the default. They don't really know a lot of skills, like they can use a computer and they can do basic stuff, but they don't have a lot going on. And as the person grows and gets older, presumably they spend their piggy bank money and their vacation funds and all that, beefing up the avatar, making it smarter, making it faster. So I think if you basically, everyone has an avatar that is worth 0 points. It's just a kind of a default doll that comes with one of 4 pre-chosen skins. Everyone can look at it and know that you're a noob. And, there will be social penalties and that, the whole sort of thing. So if you know a skill, and I haven't really figured out all of this in detail, so bear with me. But if you have a skill in the real world, your avatar does not necessarily know that skill unless you unlock it.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a driving skill of 14 in the real world, your avatar has a driving skill of 10 because everything's default. But if you spend the character points to unlock your avatar, that skill, then they will have it at the same level as your real world. And in fact, you can continue to pump virtual points into your avatar skill so that you're actually a better driver in the zone than you are in the real world. Does that answer?
I have a follow-on. Are there a lot of these 4 models of noob avatars wandering around, all looking just like each other?
Yeah, there's always like little clusters of noobs that kind of, like baby ducks, they stick together and they do for safety, but they get picked on and everyone points and laughs. Usually they're young kids or people who, for whatever reason, weren't assigned an avatar at birth. They were born just in the middle of nowhere and had no contact with civilization. So it's pretty clear that they are new. It would be rare for anyone who's been online for any length of time to still be using this crappy avatar.
Right. Okay.
Although some people don't care, right? Like some people just want to hop on and check their email, and they don't care what their avatar looks like.
Well, there could be advantages.
Say again?
There could be advantages.
Indeed. Yes, and you certainly blend if no one's gonna pay any attention to the noobs.
Noobs. So would school be online then, possibly?
School could definitely be online. And in fact, there's no real reason that the 4 of you need to have ever met in physical space.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the easiest way to go for a new group is for them to already be together operating. So if we chose to do that, there's no reason that you couldn't have been pulling off these virtual cyber crimes and never having met outside of whatever your virtual avatars are.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, you could teach your mom and never have to leave.
That'd be amazing, actually.
Who wants to meet people in real life anyway?
That's right.
Well, just kind of like you know, you're using Ready Player One as kind of an inspiration, and that's one of the things that like everyone has access to the Oasis there because of school and stuff like that. So it's
Right.
kind of an interesting tie-in thing I've always loved about that particular setting. So yeah, I don't know how that would work with preschool though. So, and I very specifically want to be like a young preschool teacher. So maybe I'm like a nanny or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
There's certainly enough rich people who would be willing to hire someone to take their kids for them.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, I'll think about it a little bit as we go.
Yeah.
Cyber nanny.
Cyber nanny.
nanny.
I feel like at that point they probably just have like a robot with a camera that just follows the kid around.
Yeah, no, I think that's a Lifetime movie already.
Yeah.
So is anyone planning to spend more points on their real world person than their avatar?
Nope.
Nope.
I really
No.
thought about new.
Okay, well there you go. All right, so yeah, so we'll go with 100 points for the people, and I guess around whatever's left, 200 points for the avatar.
Okay.
Do some crazy stuff.
That sounds good.
So the first part of your character is the attributes: strength, IQ, dex, and health. They're priced slightly differently because of their utility. Strength and health give you how much you can lift, how much damage you can take, that sort of thing, and that costs 10 points a level. So for 20 points, you get a strength of 20. For 40 points, you get a health of 40, that kind of thing. Dex and IQ are double cost. They cost 20 points a level because all of the skills are based on either Dex or IQ.
Mhm.
Now, there's going to be some weird interplay, I think, because some skills, like Bill and I discussed briefly, like a sword skill in the virtual reality may not be based on your dex. It probably is based on your IQ. So I need to figure out a way to kind of elegantly address that. But we'll work out the points. Don't feel like you're going to get robbed on anything.
I like the idea you had around this concept of cyber attunement, which is kind of like magery. for
Yes,
wizards,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so what Bill's talking about is in GURPS, if you have a wizard, all of their spells are based on their IQ, but you don't necessarily want a fantasy setting where every single wizard you ever meet has an IQ of 185. So what they do is they have a separate advantage called magery that gets added to your IQ solely for the purpose of spells. So if you have 4 levels of magery and an IQ of 12, you have an effective IQ of 16 spells. So we would do something similar with the cyber attunement. So your IQ might be 12, but if you have 4 levels of cyber attunement, then when you're doing techie stuff in the zone, then it's actually a 16. That way you can be talented, you can be a great hacker, but you're not necessarily uber smart.
Could we have the idea of even specializing that? Like, I'd imagine my guy is not a great hacker necessarily, but he just is like extremely good at certain types of combat and movement, for example. But obviously in the real world, he does not move very well at all.
Okay. Yeah. So instead of cyber attunement, like for hacking, maybe we'll give him like cyber presence or something like that. So it would basically allow him to switch all of his dex-based skills from the real world to IQ-based skills while he's in the net.
Right. So he's got some like combat mod or something, right? Where
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
Figure it
that.
out.
Let's write that down before it goes away.
It's been recorded. It'll be here for decades.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there we go.
Forever.
I like the idea though that like in the conversation Mook and I had, where you could like by default your zone avatar. Like I like personally, I wouldn't have a knife skill, but that my character could be really, really good at it.
Right.
Right. I just like that idea, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good time, particularly if we ever actually do much stuff in the real world that'll kind of play up the differences.
Like, really, you can't do that? Well, no, I can't do that.
Nope. Sorry.
Does everyone have some kind of character sheet? Did anyone download a character sheet? Yeah, there we go.
Right, we're gonna write it on paper. It's all good.
Old school, nice.
No
Yeah,
school
actually-
like the old school.
We got 2 copies.
Yeah,
Ooh.
paper.
Paper.
Yeah, we need 2 copies. We need our real world version and our
Right.
All right.
Dark Zone.
All right. 1 second.
Brilliant.
Excuse me as I print something out. That's the great thing about like this game, though. It's like I can do this from my house.
Yes, bam.
Right. I can reach my printer from here
Yeah,
if I
it's
need
like-
to print more
Oh,
shit
see,
out.
I have to get up and walk, but it's like right there. All right. Let's see.
So Mook, do you? Because normally when your point costs are for what you're spending on your character, there's also a limit on disads. Is that a
Yeah.
total limit, or is that just a real world limit? How does
I
that-
usually go. I usually go lower than the recommended. I do like 25 points worth of disadvantages because I feel like otherwise it just gets crazy really fast. Like the old one-eyed narcoleptic midget who it's just so rather than
Or I won't
cap-
play that.
there you go. So I usually cap that around 25. So when you take a disadvantage, you actually get points. Like it costs negative points. So if you take pyrophobia, I'm afraid of fire, then you actually get 10 points for that as opposed to spending points. And then you can spend those points on other cool stuff like shooting people in the face. And
I'm
now
going to
there's-
assume paraplegic is a 25-point disad.
in fact, yes, almost guaranteed. I'm not even going to look it up. That is at least 25 points.
It's somewhere around there. I didn't actually, interestingly, see that, but I was using the light. So
It's definitely not in light.
Oh, okay, there you go. I think it's actually under crippled limbs or something like that. So I'm not overly concerned with like getting the points exactly right and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm envisioning at the end of today is I'll just have this big collection of lists and numbers, and then I can spit back to you guys finished GURPS characters. That'll be all official.
Oh, that's why you're the best.
So I'm thinking I'm going to take intolerance of upper management.
Perfect. Yep, that sounds perfectly reasonable. So light doesn't have all of the skills and all of the advantages, but it definitely has like a good portion of the base stuff. But anything that you want for your character that you don't see in there, I can guarantee that it's in GURPS somewhere. So if you just jot it down on the sheet, then I can, dig around a little bit and be like, oh, they mean this, and we can translate.
So are you good, Mook, with us just like YOLOing since
Oh, yeah.
I don't have like necessarily, I'm trying to look at my phone for my GURPS Lite copy and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't even worry about that. Like if you're envisioning, hey, my character's really like combat savvy or something like that, feel free to just put down combat savvy. And then when I read it, I'll be like, oh, he means combat reflexes. That costs 15 points. Now there's a website, a fan-made website that I want to mention. It's called GURPScalculator.com, all one word. Now it's pretty great for tracking campaigns for the GM. So basically, once the 4 characters are done, I can import them into the GURPS calculator. And from the GM screen, I can see all 4 characters, all of their attributes, all their advantages, all their skills, and roll against anything on there just by clicking the little thing. So if you make a free account also on the site, then I can share the characters back with you. And then you will have a virtual copy of your character that not only tracks everything, but you can also click on it and it will roll the dice for you. You don't even need to bother with the old polyhedrals. So just throwing that out there. That might be something worth doing.
So I don't know where I would even look for this in a rule book, but can I have physically followed by Secret Service as a disad?
Absolutely. As a disad though, because you don't
Yes,
like
that's
it
what I
'cause
said.
because their dad or your dad hired them, I guess, to keep tabs on you.
No, my dad is followed by them too.
Okay,
Oh, he's like a high enough level government official where there's
He's
protection.
Yes.
nice. Okay, so
that-
there he does Daddy Dearest suspect that you are this sort of troubled teen, or does he think you're just a perfect little angel?
He hasn't noticed me in years.
Okay, fair enough.
He trots me out for public appearances. If I dress right, it's all good. If not, he yells at mom.
Fair enough. So the security detail isn't there necessarily to keep an eye on you in terms of keeping you out of trouble. They're legitimately there to keep you safe.
Yes, and make sure I don't wander too much.
As teens are wont to do. Okay, cool. Yes, that is. I'm going to eyeball that at about 10 points if we're tracking that. Good old dad.
Is there a disad for like social awkwardness?
There
Ubiquitous.
is.
Like I'm envisioning my character is, unless he's doing specific HR tasks, has trouble like relating to people face to face.
I am not sure what that would be off the top of my head, but I'm going to go with social awkwardness because that sums it up nicely. It's probably -5. Like you don't flee at the sound of people talking.
No, it's just like he has trouble talking to people. Like small talk is super awkward, and he wants to remove himself, but it's not like he's going to run away or like piss himself when he has to talk to somebody.
Because that would be a totally different disadvantage.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, probably 5 points for that. Just socially awkward. So it seems like ads and disads are where it's at right now. So we can totally do that. There's no reason that you have to start with attributes. So maybe brainstorm a little bit about things that you're good at, things that you're not good at. In the latest version of the handout on the Slack channel, there is 2 advantages that I mentioned specifically. One is luck, which is kind of a metagame advantage. There's no real reason it should exist other than cinematic protagonists are lucky people, and they get shot at and they don't die and they fall off buildings and they live. So mechanically, if you have the advantage of luck, you can re-roll poor rolls if they come up. So if the game is chugging along and everything's hunky-dory and then you have to hack this computer or else the world will explode and then you miss your roll, you stork it, then luck will allow you to re-roll and hopefully do better on the subsequent. So that is that's I recommend that for anybody who wants to throw 15 points at it. It's kind of expensive, but it can really save your bacon. And the nice thing about luck is you can use it for pretty much any skill roll. It's not confined to combat only. You can use it if you're hacking. You can use it if you're running, whatever. The other one was combat reflexes, which gives you a whole host of in-game bonuses mostly to your defenses. So for characters who are professional warriors or who just happen to find themselves in scrap after scrap, constantly fighting for their lives. Combat reflexes gives you a pretty good bang for your buck in terms of survivability. Has anyone never played GURPS like at all? Not a single session. I feel like you've all got at least one or two under your belt. Okay,
Yeah.
Bill, I know you played
The
a
one
lot.
the one I played was like years ago though. So
Okay.
I've
Yep.
played so many sessions since then of different role playing games. It's like I know this is the one where you want to roll low and Stork should be good at it, but that never happens. He's always bad at it anyway. It's like my
Yeah,
memory.
I played a couple con games of GURPS, but they were with pre-gens.
Right.
Okay.
I played a shitload with Stu.
Back
Sure.
in the day.
Back in the day.
I think I played one session with Stu.
I think it's the same one I played with him. It was our 5e game that he switched to GURPS.
Oh yeah, the 4E game.
The
Yeah.
4E game, yeah. The 4E game that he got tired of running in 4E, so he moved all our characters
Well,
to GURPS.
4E sucks.
Well, yeah, no, it totally did. I'm not saying that that was better. But then he moved it to to GURPS, and then like the game. I mean, we had like 11 players. It was insane.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
That is a lot of players. So just a quick overview of maybe the combat system so that you're making intelligent choices about what's going on.
Yeah.
In GURPS, you have all these skills, right? You might have a sword skill, and this applies to virtual or real world. It all works the same. You might know how to shoot a pistol, whatever. So there's going to be all kinds of modifiers. Now, if you're hardcore and you want to learn GURPS, it's not difficult. Just dive on in there and avail yourself of the plethora of modifiers. Enjoy them, love them. But if you don't care about any of that stuff, that's cool too. Like just I will throw a number at you anytime you try to do anything in the game.
Okay.
So going back to the person with the pistol skill. Let's say you're trying to shoot the bad guy who's 20 yards away. So your skill is 14, but you've been aiming, so we're going to bump it up to a 16. But he's 20 yards away, so now we're going to lower it down to a 12. Like there's all these little modifiers. But at the end of that, you will get a target number. We'll say it's 13. So if you roll 13 or less on those 3d6, you successfully potentially hit the person. Now if a hit is scored in combat, the NPC or you gets a chance to defend. This is kind of a divisive thing. I don't understand why, but some people love it, some people hate it. I personally like having sort of some control there, or at least a shot to dodge or parry or block a blow. But some people hate that, but that's the way it is. So it can be annoying if you're trying to shoot someone and they dodge out of the way, but that's usually tempered by the fact that next time you get shot in the face, you might be able to dodge behind a wall.
That's
or,
true.
Interpose a piece of concrete or something.
Magic concrete.
Magic concrete. So the combat reflexes help with those sorts of things. It bumps up your defenses by a level, and it makes it just a little more likely that you won't get hit.
Are you good with us? The idea of like putting ads on the avatar that I wouldn't have for my regular meat world.
I think so. What did you have?
Does that make sense? Like I
Yeah.
could see having combat reflexes on my avatar, but if you met him in the real world, you would just come up and slap him in the face and he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a perfect example. Because he's just in the real world, he's just some kid rolling by and no one's going to pay him any mind. He's certainly not going to have these heightened reflexes because he's never seen combat. But yeah, online in the virtual world, for sure.
How much is combat reflexes, man?
15 points.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
And we have to, and I mean, obviously, as a preschool teacher, I wouldn't have combat reflexes, but if we want a skill that we can use in both, like luck, we have to buy it in both.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Just double checking.
Yeah. There probably at some point will be like a discount for having it in both rather than pay full price twice. But like I said, I'll hammer out the points somehow.
Okay.
What level of normal activity what kind of activity in a regular person would use combat reflexes? And I could see all kinds of uses for it in the avatars. But say, would you use it if you were, I don't know, competing in some martial art?
Yes. Yeah.
But you never did anything like that. You're just a normal person walking down the street. Would you keep your combat reflexes? Is that sort of a natural talent, or is it something that you pick up over time by practicing?
Right. It's mostly practice. And so that's why I can see where a lot of your avatars might have combat reflexes, because you've been breaking the law for a while. Presumably you've run up against other runners, maybe running away from the cops or whatever. So there's certainly valid in-game justification for why you have these heightened reflexes. But most of the real world people that you have described, the young teen, the elementary school teacher, paraplegic, this corporate drone, I don't really see any of them necessarily having that sort of combat stuff. Although you never know. And that's another thing, like I tend to be, I'm pretty forgiving in terms of whatever anyone wants to do. Like, I'm not here to impede your game. So if you want your tween to be like a black belt ninja assassin with a knowledge of blowfish poison, knock yourself out. That's cool.
No, I'm not Orson Scott Card.
That's really specific.
I've been sitting on that one for a while. Any other advantages springing to mind? Any kind of bonuses you're looking for? Even if it's just something like, my character's good at this, or my character's afraid of these, or I have an enemy, or...
How would you... So normally stealth is a physical thing.
Correct.
Normally stealth is described as a physical attribute, but or a physical skill of some sort. But there are some people who are mentally good at being sneaky.
So like subterfuge?
No, it's attitude, it's just sneakiness.
You can tell that she has a young child at home. It's soon to be old enough.
So you're looking for a skill that's going to let you shake a tail.
Honestly, I'm thinking more about 16 or 17. But,
yeah.
But it's genuine sneakiness. It's the kind of thought process that is the opposite of what gets people into trouble in J.J. Abrams movies when they're kids. Right? It's you don't just walk around the corner and into the monster. That never happens without you thinking about it first, because every time you walk around the corner, you're thinking about whether there might be a monster and whether you should be sneaking around it.
I think probably the closest I could think for that would be like a high perception, just like a really good situational awareness, so you're hard to surprise.
What about danger sense?
Danger sense is perfect. It's kind of expensive, but it gives you that moment of reflection where you're like, I think there's something on the other side of the store.
Yeah, it would be a sort of a combination. What I'm looking for is a sort of a combination. It is more situational awareness that I'm thinking of, because it's sort of a half danger awareness and half opportunity awareness.
Okay. So yeah, I'd go with danger sense and high perception, and that'll hit both bases. Here we go. Oops, that's not what I wanted at all. Nice.
Are we actually kind of just thinking about almost like we're writing this up as two characters that have things that connect them? Like, is it 25 points disadds across both or each? How do you approach that?
I wasn't really thinking of the avatars having their own specific disadvantages. But
Okay.
yeah, we could totally do that where they would have different pools.
That's how I thought we'd be going, because like
Hmm.
my meat space person has bad sight, but my avatar is not going to have bad sight.
There you go. Okay, yeah, that's cool. So yeah, so 25 for each. So you can actually squeeze out an extra 50 points.
Yeah, because I like for my avatar, I was thinking like large size. Like sneaking's not really an option for my avatar. It's not a
Very
thing.
true.
So I'll steal a minute here to try to drill down to this like cyber combat attunement thing,
Mhm.
since that's going to be, I believe, on my meat space character, right? Because then that's going to inform,
Is that like our actual official term now, meat space?
well, whichever, my real world.
I like meat space. I'm just like confirming.
I like meat space. Yeah, let's go. I like meat space.
Well
That
done,
works.
Tyler.
I think
Good
Bill
job,
said it
Tyler.
first.
Oh, did
actually.
I
you?
did,
Oh,
but
okay.
good job, Tyler.
All right.
Doesn't matter. You just got it.
Sorry, I don't always
live your
listen to
whole
Bill.
life.
It's a thing.
Beef.
Oh my god, I'm so glad we're doing this because I miss you all so much. right.
I'm like, I haven't ripped on Tyler in like, I don't know, 2 years or
Right?
something.
I know.
Oh man.
Well,
I've
it's like-
had.
Oh my god.
I was going to say I've had it pretty easy 2 years, but I've been hanging out with Tim Chetlet a lot, so
yeah.
I have not.
Yeah.
This is warm and cuddly.
It
I have-
is.
I have endured my fair share of abuse.
Well, when I logged in and your sign was back there, I was just like, oh, I love it so much. Oh, I have the best, meanest friends.
So here's the idea, Moo. Can you tell me how you want to go about this? So basically, this whatever it is, cyber combat attunement, is that all combat skills would be int based in the zone, and then it also acts like magery.
And adds
So-
to your
So tell me what that costs per level, right? If it's like magery.
I think majory is 10 points as a buy-in, like 10 points for that initial just to say I have it, and then 5 points for every level after that.
Okay.
So 10 points for level 0, 5 points for level 1, another 10 points for level 2. I think the max is probably like 4. Like there's
4 is the max.
there's
I
only
remember that.
so high you can stretch before things just
Right, because I basically the way I'm thinking of that is this is probably where a chunk of his points in the real world have gone, because it's like a combination of a hardware rig and it's software that's pretty specially written and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So if I'm having it at 4, what's my point total?
Let's see. 30.
Okay.
Is that right? Yeah, 30, 30 altogether. No messing around for Bill. Going for the max.
Nope. I'm getting a lot of points back on my really bad stats. Because I know
it
at
makes
some
sense
point
for you
you'll
to
take
have
advantage. I know you'll take advantage at some point, and we're gonna have a Meat World event, and it's gonna be ugly fast. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, that could be quite the thing.
So when you buy a skill, the first point is the attribute plus 0 cost, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And then, but there are some skills are harder than others.
Right.
Easy, average, and hard. So I think average 1 point gives you the attribute at 0.
Attribute plus 0 for an average is 2.
Okay, so
It's
there you
1,
go.
2, 4.
1, 2, 4. Nice.
How much is it for a hard? I don't have it in front of me.
It's 4 points for attribute plus 0.
So right. So if you're learning a IQ based skill that's hard for 4 points, if your IQ is 12, you'll get it at a 12. But if you spend more points, then it goes up from the 12, not from 10. If that makes any sense. Now
So it's-
there's
So it's, if you know you're going to have a lot of IQ skills, you want to start with a really high IQ,
yeah,
so your skills start higher.
for sure, yeah, because it's generally cheaper. Unless you only have 4 IQ based skills, you're going to end up saving points by having a higher IQ than buying up all the skills. And it sounds like you're all going to have a lot of IQ skills.
Mm-hmm.
But the cyber attunement advantage that we were talking about gives you some leeway in there so that you don't all just have to jump to IQ 16, which isn't to say you can't have an IQ 16. You know, that's fine if you want to spend the points. I'm just saying you don't have to. You don't feel obligated to play like some super brainiac just because you want to be effective in the net. You can do that without and still be an average intelligence person.
Okay, and cyber attunement starts at 10 points.
10 points to just get it at 0, and then 5 points for every level after that. Geez, I've gone full feral here. I missed one convention, man, and I just
I know, look at that.
wow, Grizzly Adam's out.
Hey, bear with me if you answered this already. Since my avatar is completely controlled, it's completely controlled mentally, is dexterity in my avatar going to be dex based in my meat space character or IQ based in my meat space character?
If you take the advantage that Bill just took, what do we call that? Cyber presence, right?
Right, cyber attunement.
Cyber attunement, then that will let you switch all of your dex-based skills to IQ-based, I think.
Right, yeah, that's the idea.
There may be a change down the road, but
Sure.
that seems doable, absolutely. Because why should you be constrained to your physical boundaries when
Right.
it's purely mental?
Right. If I want to be able to, for instance, fly, I'm not going to be practicing that in my bedroom.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But it doesn't come out right.
Well, it seems interesting. So that would imply that there is some kind of interface where my natural meat space dexterity could actually translate into an avatar with high dexterity.
Well, I mean, if we're thinking about it like Ready Player One, you know, you're in like a haptic suit.
Right.
So your motions in the real world are what are controlling your motions in the, to some extent, in the
zone.
Right. Whereas the
Yeah.
cyber attunement situation is more suitable with a William Gibson scenario.
Right. Okay. That's
interesting. Maybe it could be gear dependent. Maybe it depends on how you interface with the zone. If you're using physical gloves and a visor, everything that's dex based remains dex based. But if you upgrade to the actual like neural jack where you plug into your head or have some sort of, then you can use your dex skills as IQ skills.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, so
let me throw this out then. Should we all take some kind of what do we call it, like cyber attunement at level 0, right? Like everybody has to pay their 10 points. But then if it's the dex based gear, you just use your dex. Like mine costs more because I'm doing the IQ crossover.
Right. Yeah, I think that should work out well. And
like
then
that 10 points kind of represents our gear, right, to get into the net.
Right, and then if you want the higher level gear, then you have to pay a few more
on the avatar side.
And that would be on both sides. So we have 10 for both our avatar and our meat space.
I think it's just the meat space.
I think it'd be on the meat space side because you're talking about whether if you thought of it as a real world scenario, you're talking about whether you're jacked in or whether you're putting on the gloves.
Right.
Essentially.
But putting on the gloves and the visor is it's like a lower fidelity. So it doesn't cost a bunch extra because you can just use your regular dex. I don't know.
Maybe, but there could be some enhancement in the gloves themselves. You know, there could be some things like if you use haptic devices right now, a lot of them will, as they get more and more refined, they do more and more accounting for human error.
Yeah.
Whereas the neural jack might not account for human error. You might not want it to correct for human error because it would be like having autocorrect on everything you thought.
So it
What a
seems kind
nightmare.
of cool. Wow, so they're totally taking over, Mook. Sorry.
Sorry.
It seems kind of interesting that basically the cyber attunement, like everybody has a kind of a base amount of points they spent on it just to have it, but then everyone could have masteries, but you're just deciding whether it's physical or IQ based, depending on what kind of gear you have and how good it is.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Is that right?
I think so. And that makes gear important because, of course, what if something happens to your precious IQ-based interface out in the meat world? Suddenly, you're jacked in, and you're having to do all this stuff based on your decks, and you're not really used to using that kind of crap.
Yep.
You're like, where's the purity of my mind? Yeah, I dig.
Yeah.
Not that the GM would ever do that. I'm just saying hypothetically.
We just gave you like all this fun new stuff.
I know. He knew it was coming though. When I told him who was playing this game, he's like, "Oh God, I have to be ready."
All of my meat space person's skills are IQ based right now.
Is that right?
Every single one of them. I'm going down the list. I'm like, oh, he'd have that. Wouldn't have that. It's all acting, computer operation, law, interrogation, research, writing, and influence diplomacy.
Nice. In the Darknet PDF, there's 2 tables. One that gives kind of an overview of what the attribute levels mean, and one that gives an overview of what the skill levels mean. The thing with skills is that is your if it's your day job kind of skill, you generally will be getting massive bonuses for doing it.
Okay.
You don't necessarily need like a high law skill to be a paralegal or what have you, because you're going to be getting a +4 bonus for just doing your routine job. It's only if some psycho has a gun to your head and you don't have time to prepare, and you have to answer right this second, that sort of thing. But if you have time to just take your time and do your job, then damn, Tyler's already got skills on the sheet.
On my stats.
Oh, my stats were easy.
16s.
9, 10, 12, 9.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm trying to figure out how low I should be going. Like if I'm going to a 6.
Are you min-maxing, Bill?
Yeah, you munchkin.
Well, I mean, that makes sense for the character.
I'm in a wheelchair.
No, yeah.
He's in a wheelchair.
Paraplegic. So it could be like it's somewhere between 6 and 8. I just like Dex is going to be pretty tough, but I mean, he might have manual dexterity.
You
but
could be a paraplegic and be like a Special Olympics participant.
I just
No,
want
you
to point
can,
out.
right, but
I
I
want to
don't
point
think
out
he
the
is.
description for a 6 is crippling.
Right, but that means you can't leave a normal
Literally.
life. Like Elspeth just pointed out, there are like paraplegic Olympians.
Right.
Right. That is not this guy.
Okay.
But I also don't see him as a complete phoebe.
Right.
Yes,
So maybe-
7 or 8 probably. Yeah, sounds about
Yeah.
right. A 6 is almost 6 to me. It sounds almost like you just need perpetual care.
Yeah.
Someone to come and you don't. The way you're describing them doesn't quite sound quite like that.
The mechanic is roll under, right?
Mechanic is roll under. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be really difficult. Yeah.
Oh, my stats are 8, 8, 12, 7.
Nice. Wow, that's unique. I don't recall ever GMing for a character of quite that caliber of mediocrity.
It's gonna be because the whole idea for him was I wanted to kind of be this complete badass in the zone, but God forbid he ever has anybody meet him in the real world. It's gonna be very bad for him. That's where I will completely be leaning on the entire group.
How much are the attributes?
Strength and health are 10 points a level, and IQ and Dex are 20 points a level.
And it's both ways, right?
Correct. You get points back, yeah, if you lower below 10.
Yeah, I'll spend.
Spend it all. Can't take it with you.
Why spend?
This
My
is great.
character spends. Why wouldn't I spend?
I haven't created characters with a group in so long because I've been doing all convention games. I just show up with the character and I'm like, here you go, pick what you want.
Yeah.
This is kind of cool.
Coming up with crazy ideas. So like 10 is average, 8 would be a little bit below average.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
about right. Yeah.
The 10 costs nothing.
Yeah, 10's
Yeah.
free.
Right.
10's free. Everyone
Yeah.
gets 10 for free.
According to Light, 8 to 9 is below average, 7 is really weak, and then 6 or low is like a crippling number.
Right, yeah. So, but I was thinking like she's like a preschool teacher, she's probably not very like an 8 strength probably. Plus then I get points back. Speaking of
I don't know.
min-maxers.
I don't think you're an 8 strength. Depends on who they are.
You people.
They work out, Kimmy.
So the points that you get back for taking low attributes does not count against the 25 point limit for disadvantages.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
you don't have to worry about that. Not that I think anyone was, but if you were, don't.
And it's 10 points a level underneath.
Yep.
Okay.
Or 20, depending if it's IQ.
The
or
IQ
dex.
or dex, right?
Yeah.
And then to have a skill at statistic level is
4
What?
points for a hard, right?
right. Oh, it depends on
1,
the
2,
level,
4.
right.
Easy, average, hard is 1, 2, 4, and then they double each level after that.
Okay. I'll have to actually look at the rules for those.
Yeah, it's going to take me a bit because I don't.
Yeah, there's I feel like we're chugging along pretty good here.
You might end up with an incomplete list. Oops. But
Basically, if like when I'm assembling all of these Frankensteins from the parts, if I finish the character and there's still points left over, then I'll just shoot you an email like, hey, maybe take this, or maybe I can raise this, or I'll give you some suggestions.
great.
Means I'm gonna have to recopy it all
No,
down
I'm
so
sorry.
you can actually read it. I'm just like writing everywhere.
There's this one crazy thing I
Yeah,
was
that'll
thinking
be
of
fun.
taking.
Yeah.
Only one?
Oh no, it's batshit crazy.
Right. I'm going with 8, 10, 12, 10.
10, 12, 10. Okay.
8, 10, 12, 10. I think that ends up, if I calculate right, that ends up costing me 40 points.
20 points. 8, 10, 12, 10.
Yeah,
You'll get 20 points back for the 8,
yeah.
and you'll spend 40 points for the 12.
Oh, my bad. You're right.
Yeah.
Make it 8, 10, 13.
Yes.
That's 60 points.
That's what I did.
Spoken like a true.
There's the right answer.
I'm a spender. My girl's a spender.
Nice. And Tyler, what did you say your attributes were?
I'm actually going 9, 10, 13, 9.
9. Cool. Bill, you had yours?
My stats are 8, 8, 12, 7.
This is an aggressively average party. I'm loving it.
Do we spend on will, or is that a derived?
I think it's derived.
It is derived, but you can also, it's usually equal to your IQ. But if you're envisioning a character, that's why I love GURPS. If you're envisioning a character who is of average intelligence but really high will, then you can boost it up beyond that. And I think that's 5 points a level if you want to be super willful.
And what is per?
Perception, also 5 points a level.
Ah,
Oh, that's the bone you wanted to bump up.
yeah.
If you were like smart, sneaky.
Yeah, so it'll start equal to your IQ, which is what, 13? So if you want a perception of 14, it'll be 5 points. 15,
Right.
10 points, blah, blah.
How high can I go?
You could probably hit 17, 18 before it starts getting like a little beyond human capability.
I'll try 16. Give myself room to grow.
16 is actually usually a good break point because anytime you roll an 18 in GURPS, it's a critical failure. Doesn't matter what your skill is. If you roll 3 6s, you're boned, unless you have luck, which is what we talked about earlier.
Right.
And 17 is usually a failure. So if you get your skill up to a 16, say, that's usually a good bet. Kimmy, did you have your attributes?
Yes. 8, 11, 13, 10.
You're the powerhouse of the group.
Am I? I guess so.
You have, yeah.
Lifting children.
Dex of 11. Yeah, her.
That's what I figured. I figured like quick reactions for dealing with kids all the time.
Nice.
I love that's me going like, what's the weakest I could possibly be? And I end up the powerhouse. Dope. Wow.
I've never in my life seen a party where all 4 of the characters have sub 10 strength.
To be fair though, this is like 1/2 of who we are.
Right. If we weren't also making avatars where we're going to spend most of our time, I probably wouldn't have sunk down to 9.
Sure.
Because you also have to like include that like wish fulfillment. Who would you be ideally? Like version on the internet. It's like in a perfect world, what would I be? It's not going to be necessarily who they are in real life.
True.
So I think we're just all playing that up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like these other 3 people could each lift each other.
Yeah.
In real life. And I could watch and mix drinks.
What's your strength, Kimmy?
8.
8. Okay.
Yeah, Tyler, you're the strongest.
I think I am the strongest. So when
Yeah.
we do meet up in real life, I'm the one who's going to have to lift Bill into cars and stuff.
I figure my strength is all upper body strength.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, but why it's an 8 because I can like
Right.
move stuff around and move myself around. But
Yeah. Well, and I know some people who are in wheelchairs who, you know, their lower limbs aren't really they're able to get themselves in and out of cars.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
they're very much able to live independently. So it can be done.
Yeah,
And some of them have like
I figure mine are fairly useless because it was congenital and he's never had use of them.
yeah.
Hey, how do you envision we actually get into the zone?
Yeah.
We jack it. Is that like gear in our home? Is it going to a cyber cafe? How
I
does
was
it work?
either I think will work. My first question was wireless or wired, because clearly the current trend is wireless, and you know, in 10 years the entire planet will be blanketed with perfect wireless. But that kind of messes narratively, right? If you could just jack in literally from anywhere at any time.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe we should stick to like certain access points and make it wired under the pretense that gives you a quicker connection. Like you can log in wirelessly to like check your email, stuff like that. But if you're a shadow runner, if you're some kind of Darknet criminal, you're going to want the extra nanoseconds, milliseconds that having a wired connection is going to give you. Otherwise, the real hackers who are plugged in wired are going to just trash you. So,
Yeah. So maybe like wireless communication with each other, like for example, we play World of Warcraft. We've got apps and stuff on our phones so we can communicate and chat during the day and whatever. But then if we really want to play, like we need to get at our computer or whatever.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like that.
Excellent. I'm contemplating taking Jumper.
What's that?
Like a world jumper?
is yes, which means I can go in from anywhere at any time.
Nice.
It's 100 points.
Oh.
Go big or go home, Bill.
Just because I'm thinking like no matter where he is, because it's like sometimes he might be someplace he just can't get back home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's basically my guy is like he wheels someplace and he goes in. Yeah. And I still have to make a roll, which is interesting because then that basically, if I don't make it, that means I basically can't find like a high enough bandwidth port in or something, right?
So in the world, in the regular zone, can anybody get in wireless? Or does everybody have to come in through a hard port?
I like that as the norm.
Yeah.
The norm is a hard port. So one thing that would be natural, maybe, I don't know if you're thinking this way, would be how the zone tracks who's in or out and how they control access. The most is to control the physical port, points of access. And that would be maybe the most challenging thing about having Darknet at all, would be disguising or concealing your shadow, your presence, as you jacked into whatever kind of port it was. Either that or there's a net of Darknet ports of some sort.
That are like bounced and obfuscated and
yeah, sort of like in the old days of AT&T hacking, where where people would wire junction boxes to get free telephone services.
Nice. It's kind of like Matrix.
Yeah.
In and out of the, yeah, cool.
But I don't know what kind of scenario you're envisioning.
I like that. I feel like there's probably enough cyber savvy criminals in the world that, you know, here and there they could cobble together some kind of darknet port. You're talking about in the physical world, right? Like there's a back room of this deli where you can log into the darknet and nobody knows about it. Or you talking about something different?
Yeah, either that or there are people have created access points, because there are physical. I wouldn't think of it as being a unified thing any more than criminals are unified now, right, in the real world. I would think of it as there'd be people all over, criminals all over, trying to create shadow ports, create back doors, physical back doors in. We might not even all be coming in through the same kind of back door, and there might be a quality level to the back door that you could access.
Gotcha. And
so basically you could go in through like any normal access port, but you'd be way easier to trace.
Hell yeah.
But if you find a back door or a shadow port, then it's like much harder to trace you.
I gotta say, I've been one large gap in my knowledge of real world computing is I couldn't get on the Darknet or whatever we call it now to save my life.
So you're looking to project that, yeah.
Future world.
I like that. I mean, as long as like, I mean, I'm assuming that in our houses we've got some sort of like firewalls and like software that makes it hard to trace who we are, so we can still access the darknet from our homes. But if for any reason we have to, you know, jack in somewhere else, then we have to find one of those darknet ports.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because it can't be just as simple as like putting the anonymous setting on your browser.
It's not that simple.
I'm going to hack the darknet, so I'm using an incognito window.
Yeah. That's how that works, 100%.
Yes, for sure. I feel like your home terminals would have at least some kind of obfuscation. I really liked the pictures of the people that I sent earlier.
Yeah.
Because all the rooms are just cramped and there's nothing to them, and they're it's like Fifth Element where you're in this little closet, but in this world you don't necessarily need a lot of physical room as long as you got a comfy chair and a bag of Doritos and a neural jack in your forehead. So
yeah. Cool.
So I'm going for it, Mook. I'm taking Jumper.
Are you really?
I can basically create a shadow port, is what it would mean, like wherever I am. I mean, I have one I normally would go through at home, but if I have to be someplace else, I've got a job or whatever.
Is it like part of your chair?
It does require a roll.
Oh.
I have to roll. I have to make an IQ roll to actually do the jump.
And do you see that as like you're just so good at hacking that you can create one, or do you carry
No,
something with you?
I think it's part of my like rig.
Yeah.
It's a super crazy hacked high-end thing that allows him to do that.
It might be a little cheaper because like the actual jumper advantage is supernatural. Like you literally travel to other worlds, like
Yeah,
parallel.
you travel through time or parallel worlds
Right.
by willing to jump.
And you're not technically doing that. You're jumping within the world of the zone. So we could probably bump that down to like 75.
So what if it's like, so maybe I'll call it like shadow jumper. Because I'm not doing the whole shadow port thing.
That'll work. Yep.
I mean, I'll pay the 100. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
No, I'm just trying to be fair. 100 points, like 100 points is this thing, but you're not really getting all the benefits of this thing. So I feel like 75 should be plenty, unless I'm misunderstanding what you're.
No. I mean, the idea is that basically I could be almost in the middle of nowhere and do it, right? But I think the IQ roll represents actually having to find some thread of connection. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or a cell tower.
Yeah, there's cell tower or something. Right? Yeah, I couldn't be in. You know, I mean, maybe the 100 means I could be in Antarctica and do it, but I just am my own connection.
Yeah,
it's a little crazy. So maybe
for 100, we can all jack into you.
Ah,
I'm a port.
We all plug into you.
That's not creepy.
So I spent 10 points to up my starting wealth to comfortable.
Okay.
Because I figure my character has invested wisely in his 401k.
His HR. Very nice.
I swear I deal with that every day where I'm running a payroll and I see it's like, your company matches 5% and you're not putting anything in. You're giving away money. That's dumb.
So you want that to be 75, Mook? Whatever you want it to be. I don't care. I'll make it 100 if I don't have to make the IQ roll.
Hey Tyler,
I just do it.
It's I'm looking at light and it's
Yep.
It is on page
Well, do
not
me
there.
because
You're not looking at light. I'll tell you in just a second as soon as I find it again.
I'm looking at my phone, which I can hardly see because I don't have my glasses back from the optometrist yet.
Wealth and influence. So if you are dead broke, you get 25 points. If you're poor, you get 15 points, but you only
I'm loaded.
Okay. It's the wealth and influence section.
Yeah.
You're loaded, so you're probably wealthy or filthy rich.
Well, personally, I'm only wealthy.
Wealthy is 20 points, and your starting wealth is 5 times the average starting amount.
Rocking. Thank
Nice.
you.
and how much was your comfortable?
Comfortable is 10 points, and you start with twice the average,
Okay.
which I think the other document said 6,000.
6,000, right? So we're looking at.
I'm sorry, you just said the cost, and I totally
10 points
Got
for
it.
comfortable. Filthy rich for 50 points. Your wealth is 100 times the average.
It's not bad.
You can buy almost anything you want without considering the cost.
So Bill, I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're going after with this shadow jumper thing.
So I think the idea is that normally you're going to have to be in specific locations to get on. And from what we're talking about, it actually works even better to my idea, which is that you have to be in specific locations to get on and be untraceable or hard to trace.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing I'm trying to get from it is that I can be anywhere and be online and be untraceable. Like I can just be as close to untraceable as you can be in the darknet wherever I am.
Okay, I got you. So, so you want the benefits of the hard point access without actually being at a hard point. You are
Right.
the hard point. Okay,
And being
cool.
a shadow port access without having to be at a shadow port.
Cool. Yeah, I think 75 is plenty for that.
Okay.
And if you wanted to do the 100, then you can forego the roll. Just make it automatic.
Okay. I'll think about that then. Good. Maybe.
That's a big buy right there.
It's kind of the concept of the character.
Yeah,
right?
nice.
Got to put it someplace.
Mook, is there like a disad? I mean, I guess I'm jumping back and forth between my avatar and meat suit. I know it seems like we're all kind of doing that. And that's okay.
That is okay.
Okay. I think we're also excited about like the avatar concept. We don't want to just do our meat space people.
Good. I feel like it's kind of messy, but as long as everyone's willing to roll with it, yeah.
We're willing and able. So for my avatar, is there a disad in GURPS that's that doesn't have like has emotional reactions but doesn't like not charming? No, like I'm picturing like as a suit of armor, like I literally like you can't really see facial expressions. Like there's not like no charm.
Unreadable.
That might be one. Although that sounds like an advantage.
Oh, you want a disad for it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't show emotions. I can't, like, talk people in. I mean, maybe I could talk people into things, but it's not going to be because of charisma.
I feel like there's
So
something.
you want the
called
probie?
There is an ability called that's charisma. No, there's charisma where you could probably take it as a negative. Oh, it says 5 points a level.
So you basically want anti-charisma.
Yeah, I mean, or I mean, I'm picturing it literally like a suit of armor. So there's nothing to be charismatic. Like unless you have a thing for iron, like, not gonna.
Don't judge.
I'm not, but that's a very select case. Everybody's somebody's fetish, but most of the population, suit of armor is not going to be that. Because I'm basically picturing it as like an empty suit of, like there's not like a body inside that or a humanoid figure inside the armor. It's just armor.
I like Tyler's idea of like negative charisma.
Okay.
So rather than giving you a bonus to your social skills for every 5 points you take off, it will give you a penalty to your social skill.
Okay.
Because even if you don't have points in things like fast talk or stuff like that, they'll still occasionally come up as default.
Okay.
And you'll get extra dinged because you're just this weird disembodied suit of armor.
Yeah.
And it kind of throws.
I mean, is that too weird a concept? Is that not going to work in with everyone? Okay.
There is no such thing as too weird a concept.
Okay.
Yes.
What the actual?
This is awesome. I just love going through the skill list and be like, oh, karate? Nope.
Not this time.
Jumping? Nope.
Not so much.
I think for my avatar, I think I want Daredevil.
Yeah.
Daredevil is a good one. And it matches the brash personality you've so far described.
Yeah.
On the opposite side of that, I think I was going to take impulsive for my avatar.
I think I need new eyes. I don't know whether avatar mods that do specific things are qualify as gear, but I think they would in Avatar Land.
Say that again.
Because they cost, right? If you buy mods for your in-game, if you're buying mods for your avatar, is that going to cost you, or is gear only? Is there only a cost to gear IRL?
There's this comes up with cybernetics too. Like if you want body mods and stuff, things that you buy before the game time actually starts, you use character points because it's like you're spending points to have these abilities and be this person. And then once the game actually starts, If you decide that you want a new cyber arm, then you just make a doctor's appointment and scratch up the cash and spend 2 weeks recuperating. So it just costs cash. So yes, gear before the game starts costs character points. After the game starts is just you're basically just buying an appliance.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
And did we come up with the cost of the cyberjack, like upping our headgear or whatever?
Oh, to make the dex skills IQ skills.
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of talked about that in general.
It was character points.
Yeah, I don't know how many we landed on though.
Oh yeah. So it's 10 to just be able to like jack in at all.
Yeah, that was like the basic model.
Right. And then it's if you want to have the attunement, it's 5 points per +1, basically, per level of attunement, and you can have up to a maximum of 4.
Okay.
And what does that do for us? That +1.
It's like magery, so you add it to your roll.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Is that right, Mook? Did I
That
understand
is correct. Yeah. So if you have, let's say, a dex of 12 and cyber attunement of 2, then in the real world your dex skill is a 12, but in the virtual world it's 14.
Okay.
Tyler, you said impulsiveness for your avatar.
I was thinking about it because when he's in the zone, he's going to be a lot more impulsive and less socially awkward. Like all that stuff's going to go away.
Nice.
So he's going to be a bit more confident. He's going to be. I'm actually looking at things, thinking about giving him, a higher charisma and more influence skills and things like that, instead of the Inspector Gadget idea I had before.
That's interesting. Yeah, the avatar is not the avatar is impulsive, but he is not. That's cool. I dig that.
Like he just goes for it more.
Right, because
avatar form.
It's easier to talk to somebody avatar to avatar than it is face to face.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say some shit to people in World of Warcraft that I would never say to people's faces.
That hasn't been my experience with you, Tyler.
You're probably right. There's very little I wouldn't say to someone's face.
So I just as a quick note on being jacked into the zone, I'm assuming that all of the modifications and the tweaks that you make in order to get the absolute fastest signal to remain competitive with your peers and all that, in order to do that, you have to disable certain safety protocols. So if you take damage in the zone,
nice.
yeah, you're gonna take damage in the real world as well.
Oh, okay.
So you should definitely.
So we should add hit points.
I should probably mention that. Yeah, so you don't get shanghaied. It is entirely possible.
That's the Matrix influence, right?
Yeah.
We should
Matrix than the real world.
We should have a high health in the zone. Is that what I?
Well, it's like the Matrix. Like you get damage in the Matrix, it also can affect you.
Okay, so we should increase our.
How
so
does that work?
where am I concerned about having more health?
Your avatar's health will be the one that you roll against if you're in the zone. So let's see, poor Alphonse has a health of 7 in the meat world. So if someone hits him with a club and he has to roll to stay conscious, he's probably going to be unconscious. Whereas if his avatar has a health of like 14,
okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Much harder, yeah, much harder. But if the damage gets past the avatar's health, then the actual person will take the damage.
Got it.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's almost like your avatar's health is shields.
Right.
And
Yeah.
your health is actually what you could die from.
Actually,
Sort of.
I may change that. Maybe. What do you think of this? Instead of that, if your avatar hits 0 hit points, then you start taking real world.
I like
hits.
that.
So there's like some buffer there. That way, if
Oh, that's
like your
interesting.
tank, like Kimmy's tank, is going to have massive hit points, and so in the zone, she can soak a lot of damage. But then once you hit 0, then it's going to start carrying over into the real world.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I
too,
like
'cause then
that,
somebody could blow past your defenses with like a rocket launcher or something, and you would take damage.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's cool. I like it. There's something in there.
I think I'm almost spent on my meat suit, so I have 5 points left. I don't really have any skills or anything.
That's
So-
usually a problem.
Well, I mean,
You may need to.
I took the cyber attunement, and I took this,
Okay.
and I took the cyber jack, so I can actually get into the internet,
Cool.
and I have a comfortable living, and I have luck. But I'm like kind of a normal person. I don't know.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
want me to take skills for teaching like long ave sounds or? Okay.
No, not necessarily. You can totally go skillless. We'll just rely on defaults for anything that comes
Yeah,
up.
I mean,
Presumably, the avatar will have a whole bunch of skills.
yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking. Like,
Did you
I mean-
take?
go ahead.
Did you take 25 points in disadvantages?
I haven't taken any in disadvantages for my normal person.
Okay, so you might end up with 5 or 10 points that you
Okay.
can kind of,
I mean,
Give 'em-
I can take some disadvantage, but I really just want her to be like
Sure.
super normal. Like,
Mhm.
She's never going to be an Olympian, but she can walk and carry her groceries and
Right.
just super normal.
Cool.
Except
That's
for
the point of the character.
Her
is
crazy
that-
hobby. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll look through the skills for a little bit more and see if there's something that I'm like, oh, afterwards I think, oh, she really would have literature or something as a knowledge, or I don't know.
Right.
But I can't think of anything that would really mechanically hit the game much.
Right. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on. I mean, but if we have knowledge, our avatars have that knowledge. It just depends what they can act with it, right? Like anything we know,
Hmm.
it translates across.
Yeah,
Like
IQ skill. Yeah, it would be hard to separate IQ skills between the two. So presumably they're just shared.
Right.
Yeah.
So like if you were like a natural
Right.
teacher or something, right? Like some of that would come across or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and also I'm also seeing the avatar as like her way of kind of escaping like her daily life. So she like I probably have the same IQ, but I'm not going to be like touchy feely. I spend my touchy feely time on singing circle time with my kiddos at school on the dark web. I am a suit of armor that will like bash through you. This is my therapy time. May or may
Physical
not
therapy.
be inspired by real life sometimes.
I used to play a lot of tanks when I worked in IT.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's my favorite thing. It's one of my things, and
That's awesome.
like I think that's why I end up playing tanks so often. I'm like, I run up and bash it.
Finally,
so calm.
something I can affect with violence.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have to talk my way out of this. I'm just gonna beat everything until it goes into submission.
So on starting, we're already a crew, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Unless
You
you'd
could
rather be
totally be a big robot who just like runs right up to villains and then stops short and tries to get them to hug it out.
Yeah. Crunch.
Come on, you guys.
What's the points on skill by? If there's different for
For
easy, average, and hard, right?
for attribute plus 0, it's 1, 2, 4,
1, 2, 4. Okay.
and then going up it doubles. So easy is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16.
And you just go from where you start.
Yeah.
Right. So if you start with a hard, it's 4, 8, 16.
Right.
Got it. And that's at stat.
Oh, actually, it doubles until it gets to 8, and then it's 4 points a level after that.
Oh, so
Is
1,
it?
2, 4, 8, 12,
Oh,
16.
16, 20.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you might actually save some points that way. Is it different in light?
I don't know. Let me find it.
Entirely possible. It's just weird. I never noticed. We're all about shaving the points.
No, hard is 1, 2, 4, 8, 12, 16.
Okay, cool.
And average is 1, 2, 4, 8, 12. And then easy is 1, 2, 4, 8, and then plus 4 after that for everything. Yeah, so once you hit 8.
So that might save you a few.
Okay.
Kimmy is the giant suit of armor. What do the other avatars look like? Do we have any ideas yet?
Oh, I sent you my picture.
You did actually, yes.
I could describe it. That didn't sound creepy. I sent you my picture. Mm.
As long as it was solicited.
It's a guy named Richard, and I have a pic that I sent. Let me look at it and then I'll describe it. Gotta find my private conversation with Mook.
Yes.
So basically, he is almost a bit cyber wraith like, in that he has a bit of a like half trench coat, half cloak that he wears, almost a little Assassin's Creedy, because it's got the hood that comes up, but it's tattered on the bottoms and on the ends of the sleeves. He does have multiple bladed weapons and a bandolier across. And then the reason he's called Hex is because on both the like the shoulder drape of the cloak type thing, and then actually his whole face has this hexwork type pattern that glows. Is that a good description of that? Showing Elspeth.
Yes. Why don't you just hold that up to the camera?
Oh yeah, I guess I could do that too.
Nice.
That's why I married a smart girl. So that's what my character looks like.
Nice.
My character in the zone looks like Tony Stark.
Find a
Like-
picture now.
Like just straight up, he is Tony Stark with the arc reactor and everything.
Nice. And this was like the idea that I totally stole from Hunger Games for my meat world. Kind of like
Yeah.
a bit, but not. It doesn't look like he actually used to be able to do anything physical, which Beto kind of looks like. Holding up to
My
the camera.
character changes looks all the time, but when we start, because she's 16, and that's what she spends most of her money on.
Yeah.
It's stuff for the avatar, and that's her main interest. So she reskins all the time, but at the outset, she looks kind of like a cross between Lucifer and a rave DJ. She's got tall and thin. She's not tall in real life. Tall and thin, the sort of short white blonde hair, and light reflecting sort of chameleon-y bodysuit, head to foot, superhero boots, and chrome wings. Very subtle.
Very. She blends.
Yes, yes, in a way. If you took her to Ibiza, she probably would.
I have a question because I think I'm doing this a bit wrong. So if I have a IQ 12 and I want to raise that to I have a skill that's easy and IQ based, and I want to make that skill 14. Am I spending 2 points or 3 points?
Just to confuse you, you're actually spending 4 points. And
Oh, because I'm 1 to get it at my number.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to add your attribute plus 2.
I want so I want my attribute plus 2.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's an easy skill?
Yes.
So it's 4 points.
Oh, because it's 1 to get it at stat,
Yep.
and then it's 1 to go plus 1, and then 2 more points to go plus 2.
Yeah, these are the table has the final cost. So if you're going if you're going straight to attribute plus 3, it's 8 points. But if you buy it at attribute plus 1 for 2 points, and then later on you earn character points and you decide, hey, I want to get better at that, then you take the difference between the two so that you only end up spending the total. But it's not cumulative. Those are just the total expenditures.
I thought it was cumulative.
Well, I'm glad that came up because
Gotta change some things.
that will save you even more points.
Where is that in the light thing?
Page 13.
Thanks.
I don't find a skill for flight.
There is definitely a flight skill, but it may not be in light. Let me.
Yeah, I'm looking at light. I found light and I'm looking at it.
Give
I
this.
don't. I'd like the wings to be working wings.
That's cool.
Can I take a? There's a disad that I also don't see how I could. Don't know what I'd put it under. It would be to my avatar, and that's that I don't always 100% practice with my new fancy gear as hard as I should for taking it out.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Unreliable Ferrari driver. I don't know.
That car's really great. How do you put it in reverse? Bah.
No, but it cost a lot, and it looks cool.
Yes.
What would that be? Maybe because skills that you're not trained in, you can still use at a default.
Okay.
So if you're like if you didn't know how to drive, but you got behind the wheel of a Ferrari, then it would be your IQ minus 4. Defaults are usually 4.
Okay. Okay.
So maybe you could do it that way, like rather than sync.
Like I buy cool gear, but I don't bother to buy the skills that go with it.
Exactly. Yes, a cool car. I don't know how to drive it, but it's cool.
Yeah, if I got it, I've been driving for never mind how many years, and if I got in a Formula One car today, I might be able to find a gear shift.
Do you want to be able to like have any ability to use it?
Yeah, I do. I low train. I under train though.
Interesting.
So I've got flight, but not as much as I need.
Flight is
Flight I do want because I've practiced it and I've wrecked several pairs of wings.
Flight is an average skill. It's we're gonna base it off dexterity.
Okay.
Or IQ, depending on. I assume you specifically
I'm taking all this cyber attunement things.
Yes.
Yes.
And also, I assume you have the more expensive interface for jacking in, so it's like direct.
Yes.
control.
Also, it's more subtle. Harder to find.
Right. Cool. So in that case, all of your dex skills are actually IQ based, so you don't have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So if you want it at average, it's what do you say? 4 points.
great.
Well, I'm sorry. What was the flight cost again? 4.
It is actually it's 2 points to get it at your IQ or your deck.
Okay.
It's only 2. It's 4 if you want it at +1 and 8 if you want it at +2.
No, I don't actually. I'd like to be able. Can I increase skills by practice over the course of a campaign?
Yes, but it will cost you character points at that point.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I can get worse at something else.
It's very ominous.
Isn't it?
So you know this is a good game because I'm on my calculator right now.
So here, I found a picture that I think kind of is like a good, like something similar to this, I think is what my suit looks like.
Ooh.
It's a little out of focus. Can you back it up a little bit?
I think that makes it more out of focus because it's hitting the light. Here, let me turn it this way a little bit.
It kind of looks like Swamp Thing with metal.
Kind of. Here, I have my...
Very animated. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't... There.
Cool. We'll post all these on the forum, yeah?
Yeah, I still want to keep looking. I kind of wanted it more to look a little bit more like historical armor, but this is kind of a cool marriage of those two things. Regardless, it has a helmet where you don't really see any reactions or anything.
I threw a link to my avatar in the Twitch chat.
Nice. Oh, I kind of like this one, actually. Maybe I like this one better. Dang it, I got distracted by pictures. Oh, yeah, I might like that better. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, I think I like this one better.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I like the helmet plume.
Yeah.
Virtual wind.
It just does that no matter what. It's just constantly.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we're in space. Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark.
Cool.
Do you look like Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark?
Yes.
Or is it the animated?
He looks like Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark. And a completely non-functional arc reactor in his chest.
The glowing lights.
All it does is glow.
Nice.
So
It's like
are you?
obvious, inaccessible, non-focus.
You guys feel like you're getting near the point limits, or do you still just have like broad points to spend?
How are we setting attributes for our avatars? Is it just, do we start with what our real world stats are and buy them from there?
I think IQ has to be its own deal, and so IQ will definitely start at whatever your meat wheel IQ is.
Okay.
But I think the other three, the physical attributes, I don't know. You think start at 10 or start at what your meat
I think
wheel is?
start at 10 because it
Yeah.
you're not able to, like Bill's character can't walk in the world, but obviously his avatar is going to be able to walk.
Yeah. And I would actually think that not being able to increase avatar IQ makes, if that's, your real world IQ is the same as your in-game IQ.
Yeah, you can't. I would think the same, that you couldn't make your avatar smarter than you are.
That makes
Oh
sense.
yeah.
I can see where you maybe could get access to information more easily.
I
Like,
feel like
sure.
that's a skill, though.
You'll be
That
like
would
skills,
yeah.
right. Oh,
Yeah,
that's what
but not a
cyber
stat.
attunement helps with.
Yeah, there you go.
I like it.
Cool.
I think I'm almost close on my meat.
So I'm sorry, just to clarify,
Character.
our IQ is automatically the same as our meat suit. It's so
Correct.
we don't have to buy up to get to match the meat suit.
Meat suit.
I've been playing a lot of demon characters lately. It's a phrase that's kind of become part of my vernacular.
That's so Interpol X of you.
It is. It's very. It's a thing.
Wait, I haven't watched Interpol X. Are you guys demons in that game?
Not all of us.
Did I just spoil it for everybody in chat?
No, they totally, unless they haven't watched it. I mean, I say that like during character creation, that's like what I do. So it's not a big spoiler at all. I'm not technically a demon. Just made a deal with one and
You're
don't
not technically a demon.
No, I just work for one and don't have a soul anymore, and I have some cool powers. Technically,
That's all.
that's all. Is large size? Is there like a disadvantage for large size?
There is, as a matter of fact, because the world was not built for people that are too big.
Right.
Let's see.
Hey, it's only 50 to be filthy rich.
Yeah, but that's 50 points.
Daddy gave you
That is
your
a lot of
credit
points.
card.
That's half your meat points.
Yeah, but that means she's gonna buy everything.
Everything.
Because you can spend
Well-
money to buy stuff in the zone. Yeah,
Mhm.
Correct.
Maybe.
Yeah.
that basically means when you want that
me see
virtual
if I can
Ferrari,
find that.
you just buy it.
Well, essentially. Let's see. So can I do that?
Hmm.
I'm at 107.
Very nice. It's a good ballpark.
My numbers are all screwed up because I screwed up skills.
Yeah, mine are a little bit of a clusterfuck at the moment.
And I actually I downloaded this program for character sheet, but it's not real intuitive.
Oh, is that GURPS character sheet?
Yeah, GURPS workspace.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one.
It's GURPS character sheet. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I find it takes me a while to do anything with that.
Like I'm trying to add disads and it's not. There's just no place on the sheet for them.
I seem to recall there's a lot of dragging and dropping, but over that.
Oh, there it goes. So you drag it and drop it, and then it shows up. I was like double clicking, applying,
Yes.
drag and drop. Wow. Okay.
Once you master the drag and drop,
I can't take it at 50.
world is your oyster. It looks like gigantism, being larger size, is usually a 0 point feature
Okay.
because there are downsides for being huge, but there's also a few bonuses because you're huge. So it all kind of evens out in the wash.
Got it. Okay.
So we'll just make a note that you're SM1.
Can my avatar be luckier than I am?
Interesting. A philosophical
I was going to do that.
question.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think that's definitely doable. So like in the real world, you're just, you're like everyone else. But for some reason, when you are jacked in, serendipity follows you.
And I don't need as much luck.
Because you have money.
Because I have money.
Yeah.
And well, no, not because I have money. But yes, because I have money, actually.
Yeah.
That
I'm
totally
not
reminds
lucky.
me.
I'm rich.
That totally reminds me of an old episode of Powerpuff Girls with Princess Powerpuff, where she shows up and she's got all these gadgets, and they're like, "You can't buy superpowers." She says, "What about Batman?
Here's
That's a good point.
You can absolutely buy
I get
superpowers."
higher Batman.
So I have a question about computer ops.
Okay.
How do you see that coming into play? Like us needing to make, like, how is that coming into all this potentially?
I don't think computer use or computer programming will likely come up, but computer hacking is almost certainly going to be somewhere in your future. If you, like, let's say you see something shiny for your avatar, You're like, oh, I want that virtual sword, but it costs 2,000 credits, and I don't have 2,000 credits. I'm just gonna make myself a sword. I'm just gonna hack my way into getting an item, like cloning an item in World of Warcraft or something. So that will be based on hacking, allowing you to do stuff like that. And it will be hard. There will be super modifiers to it because, of course, the corps don't want people devaluing their shit by cloning it when it isn't meant to be. But you can.
Right. So, do we need to even take computer ops?
No, I'm going to assume everyone can use a computer.
There's some more points.
There's points. And hacking is what, hard?
Hacking is a hard. It might even be very hard, but it's at least hard. I was just looking up luck, Elspeth. The first level of luck is once an hour. That's the one that costs 15 points. So once an hour of real time, you can re-roll a poor roll.
Okay.
If you spend 30 points, that goes up to every 30 minutes.
Good.
And if you spend 60 points, you can do it every 10 minutes of real time, which is like, what do they call it? Ridiculous luck is what they call it at that level. Because
Okay.
Yeah.
That luck would be very handy. And I haven't spent much in my avatar because I kind of spaced the 2-to-1 point division.
Go spend some avatar points.
I'm going to spend some avatar points. I'm trying to cut down my meat space points.
And hit points are 10, and the max is 16 on that.
There's actually not much of a. There's no max. You can as long as you get points. Yeah, you just go to town.
Excellent. I'll save that for last. Then I'll just spend everything I have left.
I'm at 103.
Bam.
I might just leave it there, if that's all right, and do
See what the calculator gets you.
197 on the other side.
But I can only have. Gosh darn it! Well, I don't need that then.
I am taking the 100-point shadow jumper.
Nice. Computer hacking is a very hard skill. It's not hard. It is apparently very hard. 100 points. Wow.
And I have 4 skills. Because I figure I can't drive a car. I don't,
You
any of
can.
that stuff. Well, only if you have a vehicle that's spatially modified, which he could never afford.
Oh,
So
that's true.
he has no idea how to drive a car.
That makes
Can I
sense.
be filthy rich and also greedy?
I think it's hard to not be.
Yeah, don't those things come together automatically?
Well, I didn't earn the money. It's well, except for doing our crimes and things.
Doing our crimes.
It's Dad's money.
Yes, you can absolutely be filthy rich and greedy.
So that gives me too many disads in my meat space because I have a natural one. I have a natural 4-point disad for being 16.
But it's only 4 points.
Yeah, because it's 2 points per year of age under 18 for the first 3 years you're under 18.
Okay, that's not bad. And then greed is
Like I can't go to clubs and things like that. And greed is a 15-point disad.
greed is 15, so that's cool. So that's 19 points. So you're still.
Well, I have the tracked by security forces already.
Oh, that's true.
10 points.
Did I give you 10 points? That's close enough. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Or do you care if we list more, but we only get 25 points worth of bonus from it?
No, if you want to list stuff purely for role playing purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the
Track-
underage
yeah, that's fine.
underage is something that showed up. It wasn't something I picked. It was natural to the character. Greed. I'm greedy.
Damn.
But I'm so rich that small amounts of money won't tempt me, like Bill Gates won't stoop for a quarter on the sidewalk.
It's true.
Yeah, it's interesting. You have to figure out what you don't stoop for on the sidewalk, like what you don't care about.
Well, it depends on what the. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out in actual gameplay because it doesn't really. I mean, if the who knows what inflation is going to be, 40 years in the future.
Sure.
Right.
We won't have inflation. Our economy's great. So RIQ in the meat space transfers over as the base level number in the darknet in the zone.
Right. Plus any cyber attenuation or.
Oh, so I should just add it and make that my AQ there.
What's our tech level?
Normally, I would say no, but I can't see one that would not come up. So yeah, that's fine.
Well, I guess
I think it throws off the points a little, maybe.
Well, I think that it seems like the attenuation only comes up when it's a skill roll, not like a knowledge roll, and I don't know how that works.
You might want to leave them separate.
It doesn't make me smarter. It just makes me be able to use my skills that I actually know better, and lets me use a dex-based skill as an ISQ skill. I think that's kind of how I thought it worked, but it doesn't make me actually smarter.
Right. It just allows you to use more of your brain power, kind of towards your avatar. Yeah. We're tech level 9, Tyler.
Okay, cool.
I'm also going to buy myself a 357 Magnum in the real world, and I have no ability to use it in a Dex 8. So it means a 6 or less, I actually can shoot somebody with it.
Nice. I'm sure your neighbors will love that.
It's just really if somebody comes up to hassle me, I pull a giant hand cannon out, and hopefully they leave me alone.
It's more intimidation than a actual weapon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's probably will kick back and knock me unconscious if I actually tried to fire it.
So everyone is starting with 6,000 credits. Tyler, you have 12,000 because you took comfortable.
Yep.
Right?
I did too.
Okay, cool. And Elspeth, you're filthy rich.
Yeah.
So you are at. You actually have access to 600,000 credits. Is that right? I believe that is correct. So you have access to a black card with no limit. So at that point, basically, it even says right in the description, right? You can buy almost anything you want without considering the cost.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's a little perk.
Yeah, skills. Do I have any? The nice thing about 16 is that you don't necessarily have many skills.
It's true. That is true.
I have an amazing skill set. I can either swipe the credit card, use it contactless, or put the chip in.
Those are too many options, let me tell you. By now, I should just be able to touch the jack. Yeah.
This is quite the motley crew. I'm digging it.
Strength and dex are 10 points per point.
Strength and health are 10 points.
Oh, and then dex and IQ are a double. Excellent. And hit points is health. And will is IQ. And perception is IQ. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
FP. What the hell is FP?
FP are fatigue points. They measure how tired you are in the same way that hit points measure how beat up you are.
And what's that based off of?
Health.
Oh, okay.
And your hit points are based on your strength.
Oh, hit points are strength.
Yeah.
Aha. One more.
Hit points of strength?
Yep.
Okay. I totally don't get how much skills cost.
It's a little weird. Let's pick what's
Reading the table and it looks like the reverse of what I know as arithmetic.
what skill are you working on right now? What's the first one
I
you're?
was actually looking just at, I was looking at acrobatics.
Okay. So does it say if it's an average skill? Is it Dex
It
average?
says, physical / hard, but I'll pick an average skill and think of that instead, because that might be easier. I think,
Well, physical hard's fine. We can work with that.
that's okay. Why don't we take disguise? That's mental
Disguise.
average.
Mental average. Okay. So that means, do you have the little table up? Are you looking at the?
I see the little table. Yeah, I'm in
Cool.
light.
Cool. So it's an average skill
Yes.
and it's IQ based. So if you spend 2 points, you'll get it at whatever your IQ is.
Oh, I see.
And if you spend 12 points, you'll get it at your IQ +3.
I see. That's the cost. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I wasn't
And
sure.
You just do that
Yeah.
for every skill. And it adds up quickly, unfortunately.
Wait, say that one more time. Oh wait,
Which
so it's
part?
if it's all right. Looking
So
at it,
it's
so
a-
if it's Dex -6, so that's what my Dex -6 for every level or whatever. Just
No,
like
I think you're looking at the default.
Okay, yeah,
-6. Are we still talking about acrobatics?
got it. No, I'm not looking at acrobatics at all. That's
Okay.
not a thing. It's not a thing I'm gonna
I
have.
changed my mind about acrobatics anyway.
All right, so the default is IQ -5, and then I'm just looking at the GURPS Lite list.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm supposed to be looking in a different place. Maybe that's why I
No,
don't.
that's fine.
Okay.
So the default of IQ -5
Mhm.
mean what skill is that?
I was looking at the weapons. So for that one, it was I don't remember which one it was. Oh, easy is DX for missile weapons.
Okay.
DX -5 is if average.
Gotcha. So that basically means if you pick up a weapon that you have no training with, like a crossbow or something,
Right.
your skill with it is going to be your Dex -5.
Got it.
Whereas if you put even 1 or 2 points into it, it'll be much higher.
Okay. So I'm sorry. Where do I find how to put points into it again?
And there should be a table. Would you say page 13?
Oh, page 13. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Light. I should probably
Got
open
it.
a version
I see
of
it.
Light.
Yeah.
And so you find the skill difficulty first. So we're under average. And then that will show you the total number of points you need to get it at that level. So if you're looking at a average skill, 4 points will give it to you at your attribute +1. Does that make sense? Or you know what? It's too theoretical. What's the first skill you're trying to learn?
All right. Let's do melee. I was gonna do impact weapons.
Okay. So like a club or something?
Yeah, like a mace.
Like a mace. Okay,
Yeah.
even better. And that's an average skill?
I would like to be more than average if possible.
Right, but the difficulty is average.
Oh.
Like it's not a hard skill to learn. And your Dex is what?
It's going to be right now. It's 12.
It's 12. Okay. So so looking at the table, you start in average because the skill itself is of average difficulty to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you under that column, if you spend 2 points, you'll have it at a 12, which is your attribute +0. If you spend 8 points, you'll have it at 14, which is your attribute +2.
Got it. Okay. Got it now.
It gets even more convoluted if once you start improving skills that you already know. But by the time we get to that point, this will all be second nature.
Yeah, and like, what's a good, like, if you're really really good at something, what's a good number for that to be?
I'm gonna say like 14-ish.
Okay.
Let me just check and make sure on the thing. So skill levels, 10 or 11 is considered average. 12 to 13 is competent. Those are listed as job skills for ordinary folks. So things that you do every day, all day, those are going to be 12 to 13. and a 14 to a 16 is exceptional. Those are people who do things and you're like, whoa, that was incredible.
Okay.
And then 17 to 19 is heroic, extraordinary, world-class experts.
Okay.
So those are people who are going to be pulling off stunts and crazy stuff that you're like, wow, did you see that shot? But of course, don't forget that there's always modifiers, particularly for ranged weapons. There'll almost always be some kind of range penalty for being far away, so you might want to bump them up a little bit.
Okay.
But if you're smacking somebody with a mace, that's all good.
Yeah.
And there are shields in this game as well.
Yeah, I have that written down next to for
Excellent.
sheep.
Excellent.
Right. Let's see.
Huh.
Cool. Things are shaping up.
Mm-hmm.
Actually going to bump my health back up to 10 because of the changes in the skill points that I got.
Cool.
Aquabatics, that's a cool skill.
Which one?
Aquabatics.
Aquabatics, yeah.
Nice.
There's an advantage called brachiation, which allows you to swing from a tree like an orangutan.
Nice.
And
Okay.
Nice.
I had a player who just always wanted to take that, regardless of the character, and I would never let him. I'm like, dude, you're a cowboy in 1885. You cannot take brachiation.
Eh,
You watch me, son.
I want to be a ninja.
Not with that attitude.
I think I'm at 100 for meat space.
Nice.
All right, I'm at 100. I spent all my points.
Woo! I think so. Is that all the meaties are done?
Yeah. If we don't spend all our meat points, can we use some of them in our avatar? Did we already ask that question?
Yeah, why not? I mean, as long as they're not.
It's like
As
a
long
little
as you're
bit,
not doing
right?
like 20 and 200.
No, yeah. I didn't spend my last 5 points for my meat character.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna fret over 5, unless the other players want to fight you.
Well, it is going to give you an edge for when we eventually go to PvP and start murdering each other.
Yeah.
Hey, so I know we're getting near the end of our time, but I wanted to throw an idea out
Okay.
in the zone because I mentioned it to Mook and he thought it was an interesting thing to talk about. What if we all have a lair, a clubhouse, something we all contribute points to that's actually a safe space for us in the zone?
That'd be cool.
That we,
I like that.
like we all contribute some points to it, and then
How, like in
Mook gives us
Ready Player
benefits
One, he has
for
a
it or
planet.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if everyone wants to kick in like 5 points for that.
I like that cost. That's a good cost.
Yeah.
So like under advantages.
Yeah, and it'll be a 20-point group
keep it
advantage
5.
that everyone has access to, and it will be just sort of this little oubliette that you've all used your hacking skills to carve out this basic black hole in the zone that no one else knows about, and presumably no one else can get access.
That's good. Does it have persistence? Can we store stuff in it?
You can, yeah.
Yes, it's based on spatial OS, so it's persistence. Sorry, I went to work right there for a second.
So basically only toddlers and up can perceive it.
Yes, right,
Okay.
yeah. Used to a childlike envision.
How do you,
Yeah.
Mook, how do you envision us moving around the Darknet? Like, do we always log in the same place? Like, do we always log in our safe zone and we have to like walk or drive
Oh,
or
That's
How do
so
we
snow crash.
get around?
I feel like each city probably has like a virtual hub, like a lobby almost. So if you're in the LA city complex and you log in from anywhere in the environs, your initial point will be just this gigantic domed room of, constant advertisement and helpful avatars and other people.
Okay.
I like the idea, but wouldn't criminals have found a way to come down in someplace less public and conspicuous?
Yeah, like our lair.
Like your
That's
lair.
where we come in. That's where we're spending points.
Yes, with a successful hacking skill, you can log into other points rather than go through the lobby. Basically, you will go through the lobby, but just for a nanosecond.
Okay.
You'll log in and then immediately poof to your secret lair.
Can my avatar have hacking skills?
I'm not sure.
I'm not trying to game you. I'm actually, this is a legit question.
No, I'm not sure how that's all going to work yet.
Okay.
Because then they would be hacking the computer from inside the computer, and there are definitely cool things to be done there. I'm just not sure how it would work logistically.
Oh yeah, I wasn't thinking about the Tron problem. I think that might go into whether or not your character could be more knowledgeable or intelligent than you in real life, actually. Whether your avatar can your avatar have knowledge you don't?
Okay, so the teen wouldn't be able to hack, but the avatar could, or the avatar is better at it.
Yeah, now that I think about it more, it doesn't make sense unless you could have specific things. An avatar could have specific things, maybe like I don't know, essentially the hacker's version of a lockpick set.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Something
that
to
was a set of specific skills that you yourself, a set of specific pieces of code, essentially, that might fit into a lot of root areas.
Okay, so
that didn't just live in your head all the time.
For something like that, I would think like in the meat world, you would spend resources to procure black market software, or perhaps write the software yourself if you have
Right.
That level of skill. And then once you connect that to your rig or whatever, once you log
Right.
in, then you'll have an item that is genre specific to wherever you end up. So it'll look like a lockpick or a drill or
Right.
something that's going to let you bash your way through.
Right, because if you had locks in the zone, they wouldn't be physical locks, so they wouldn't need physical keys.
Correct.
Necessarily.
Well,
Okay.
the code is represented in a
Right,
physical way.
right,
Could you just take lockpicking?
I'm not
Oh.
sure if it'd be, God, you guys.
and like the lockpicking represents you actually like writing the code, basically, I guess.
Or plugging in the code that you have bought from plugging in the right things from the black market lockpicking kit that you bought, essentially.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It feels like some of the skills are things that like
Right.
are representations of code or ability or a thing your avatar does. It's
It
pretty
feels
neat.
Like the questions we're asking are representations of the different subgenres of cyberpunk that we've read over the last 20 years.
Agreed. I think lockpicking is an odd example because the real world skill has to do with like tumblers and the physical
Yes.
combination,
Mhm.
and that doesn't really necessarily map well to. So basically, if you had to pick a lock in the zone, I would assume it's a computer hacking skill as opposed to lockpicking. Although lockpicking might give you a bonus for.
I would think that the skill, if your avatar only has it, then it only applies to it's basically just the representation of how you'd pick a lock with computer hacking. It's very specific to lockpicking. So that's why your meat space character doesn't have it, but your avatar does.
Right. Like I could see my avatar being able to pick locks. My guy can't pick locks at all. But it's like almost hyper specific hacking. There's tons of
Right.
hacking he wouldn't be able to do, but he can get through a door.
Right.
Right, and in a lot of ways, because it is cyberspace, it depending on how it is, behind it all is just code and pixels. So in one representation, you've got a it turns into a visual representation of a lock.
Mhm.
But in another person's universe in cyberspace, that turns into sort of a digital keypad, like you'd end up with in some, I don't know, some Star Trek world where somebody is holding up their device to it, which is their version of a lockpick, and it's just running through a bajillion codes one after another.
Well, it's
So
interesting
great
because
combo.
lockpicking is a IQ average,
Okay.
and then you could just be applying negatives depending on how complex the code is we'd be trying to lockpick.
True. Modifiers, yeah.
Right, modifiers to be like, oh yeah, I have lockpicking. I bought it at an average. I can usually get through most, simple code locks pretty easily on a 14 or less or something. And you're like, yeah, but this is like a really high end piece of
Right.
code you're trying to hack, so it's -6. And you're like, oh, that's gonna be bad.
I like it.
I kind of think like lockpicking, if your Meat World character has hacking, then they can use that hacking to try to bypass the lock,
Yeah,
regardless of how it's represented in game.
absolutely.
But if
Right.
Right.
Avatar has lockpicking, it is only effective against code that is digitally represented as
As
a
a
lock.
lock.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
that
if
makes
it's-
sense.
If it's represented as a keypad, then they need security electronics or whatever.
I do not see hacking in the skills list.
It might be under computer
Light, sorry.
use. Oh, that's
It's
true.
a-
I'm not even sure if it's in light.
Yeah,
But
I think you said it was very hard. Yeah,
it's a very hard skill. Yeah.
IQ very hard.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I think we're coming to our wrap up time too.
Cool.
So I know we're not all done, so why don't we I think we're definitely headed in the right direction though. We all have kind of a similar vibe going. We've all figured out our concepts. We have like some
Right.
final things to figure out. So can we just finish that and then send that to you, Mook?
Yes, please. Chicken scratches or files or whatever you got. I'll take screenshots.
Okay.
And
Can we
I'll-
arrange for private Mook Guru sessions to
You
work on our
can.
character?
Yeah, but we have to talk about that off air. That's
Yeah. That's not for public consumption. All right, awesome. If you watched our character gen session, thank you for tuning in. There was a bunch of you, very exciting. Obviously, we're still figuring out the whole streaming thing. We had a little bit of camera fun happening, but we made it work. So check the happyjacks.org/schedule, and you'll see this game is called the Darknet, and it's going to be happening once a month, and we are starting next month. And it's going to be so much fun, and I'm so excited already.
me too.
So
Yay.
awesome. All right. Thank you guys, and we'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time. Bye.
Bye.